The large idea of my method is to support the waking up experience of people, to experience the absolute, but in order to support that beyond the individual level, then there is also a collective learning that needs to be. And there are four main pathways to have the non-dual experience in its absoluteness. I mean, not really non-dual. It's possible to describe them in levels, or each one have a different advantage and disadvantage. So one level is the psychedelics. DMT would be a strong one for that. And yeah, it's a way. It's very easy relatively to create a setting that will bring to that experience. That is an advantage. Comparing to another way, which would be very difficult, it's through disciplined practice, is through asceticism in a way. So this is a very slow way that takes a lot of effort and persistency. But there is an advantage to that way, which a bit opposite of the psychedelics, which achieving the experience through the discipline way enables also the ability to choose to stay there, to go deeper, to stop, to go less, to go back. Like, there is the freedom of navigation, which in the psychedelic doesn't really exist. In the psychedelics is just to surrender to it because it is overwhelming. And yeah, it's taking there. It's like being taken out of the one house I lived all my life in, and I never went out. And then comes a train and takes me to a whole new terrain, like into the jungle or something I've never seen before. And it's a trip, and that brings me back eventually. But the discipline practice is, instead of driving on the train, which is driving fast, is just to walk. So what takes few hours in a train can take days in walking. And yeah, usually it's more practice than days. So maybe a train is a too old example, maybe a spaceship or something like that. So yeah, it enables the embodiment. The embodiment integration piece is lacking in psychedelic journey. But these are two ways out of four. There are two more. So another one is through sexuality and through the orgasming, more correctly to say, but in the quality that sexuality enables, because it's also a meeting of two, which is part of the pleasure. So it's possible to call it the pleasure path, but the most intense is that connection. And this way is maybe the most common, generally, collectively, common path that people experience the absolute through. But it's another path, and it have a mix of advantages and disadvantages. From the other two, for example, um, it have some degree of embodiment, but it does not need so long. And but yeah, sometimes it is to work on intimacy in relationship, in depth of connection, in that sense that it will the energy between two people will synchronize enough. So it's not as fast as psychedelic. It's in between from both aspects. Um, but is challenge is well, it is dependent on someone else. It's not something that one can do by itself. So that's another one. And there is a fourth. The fourth is through lucid dreaming. Now, um, it have advantages regarding timing and regarding also that it's overwhelming in a way. It is type of surrender into lucid dream, or uh, the awareness that is aware in lucid dreaming integrates already a quality of surrendering, which enables it to come strongly, like in psychedelics, like fast, but it does need practice of consciousness to stay conscious also in very long brain waves, and that leads through the lucid dreaming all the way, like when we go deeper and deeper into the worlds. There is kind of like a hierarchy of worlds that can be lucidly dreamed. It can be categorized, but it goes all the way eventually to a lucid deep sleep, which is nothing in a way, but conscious. And this is this is possibly the most clear of all ways. That's the adventure. It's the most clear realization, the most direct, because there are no distractions. The for the brain in a way, or for the cognitive process. But of course, a disadvantage is that it is, in a way, even a more difficult type of discipline. The will need to come from another place that is integrating the unconscious in first place, even before the actual exercises. Yeah, from the power of intent, not will. So these are the four ways. It's possible to say that there is a fifth way, which is kind of like the integration of all four. It's not exactly a way by itself, because it's more like a cultural generation, and that's exactly what supports the collective waking up rather than the individual. It's there is the bridge between what's more centered on the individual's experience rather than what is the collective or the planetary consciousness waking up, and waking up to the absolute, to the non-dual, to that experience, as if the planet experience through all of us, humanity, in a critical mass of experience that is enough for shifting the self, the knowledge of identity, or even not knowledge, the knowing of not identity, of I, the knowing of I, but the planet having a shift in knowing of its I, and this shift is actually presenting itself in humanity because every person's consciousness is a fractalized differentiation of the planetary consciousness. It is the same I of the planet that comes to be every I that is so-called individual. And because it's not really individual, it is part of a fractal continuum. So one eye made of many little eyes, and every eye, every one of us can find in itself parts, aspects, and many eyes. How I am when I meet this person and how I am when I meet that person can be, in a way, a different personality. But again, we can go deeper and deeper to the core, to the source I. Uh, and beyond, all the way to the absolute, to the void. And then beyond the void, I mean, when even in the void there is no I, it becomes Vod, because the I is removed. But O still exists. So it's still wonderful. Well, yeah, that's in a way the fifth way is through the cultural integration. We can see it strongly represent, I guess, in the Dionysian temples, or in any like spiritual path in many pagans or occult, or some degrees of integration of all these four, but weaving them together with the power of the group. So, for example, to combine the sexuality with the discipline practice, the movement, the dance in a way, with the psychedelics, the intoxicating drugs, substances, medicines, and with the lucid dreaming, like we are creating an event, a celebration uh, that have its own magic, and we dream together a certain reality, like we go altered to altered states, and we use all the tools. So into that there is also the music integrated. That's in a way the fifth, that in the essential bringing. So music, the ecstasy of music, can also bring to the non-dual experience, but this is a group work. This is a culture already. So that's another way. Now, there is a whole methodology to influence, using cosmic positions. That's in a way oversighting all the previous 5 ways. So it's about the timing through the cosmological alignment or positions. And yeah, that's a method that can figure when is the most potent and fitting it to the person or personality even, or to the group, like in holidays, for example, during the year. That's very much way to synchronize the music way. Um, and the charts can show for each individual more. So when is better timing through sexuality, through psychedelics or practice or meditation, like into dream. So that is kind of another path, but it actually also integrate all the previous five, and it's much more through the knowledge of the structure of the cosmos, through or more to say the structure of time. I would say that more, because then there is even another path, and this path is even finer in substance, and it's through direct knowledge. um, the waking up is through the understanding, direct understanding, like logically concluding from the most first principle thinking possible ontologically, and deduct the and prove in a way that there is no other option, while including every possible option, which is actually what is. And this is the most abstract path, but is another path for the through the realization. Um, but it's having its own challenge, because it's very, very, very abstract, and it's kind of like studying math in a way. And yeah, it's kind of just challenging way of thinking to think so abstractly. But it have its advantage that it is the most direct from what is I to what's before. um, and the cosmological alignment or the time structure also, this vantage is about also learning a mass of knowledge, a certain amount of knowledge, but the advantage that it allows precision, very much efficiency of investment, and also knowing which of the other path is most suitable, fitting, potent, uh, and accessible in whatever period of time. Um, so yeah, these are that's the wholeness of the method in a way, and it's these paths, or these because it's all coming together into one structure, but the intention of the whole thing is to support the general waking up. And of course it um, is generated from the center, and each eye is in a way a center that is experiencing. So that's a potential responsibility that every one eye can take to start with their own waking up, and that merges naturally into the whole, like if each one is like a holon in the wholeness, so the waking up of the wholeness. which is a next level I, like the planet is a being. It have a physical body all the way to that tangibility. And we are parts of that physical body. We are like, if to equivalate to human body, so we are, each one of us, a neuron in the prefrontal cortex of the planet. And here I'm communicating with you, sending dendrites, and you're welcome to send a signal and create a connection.